In February 1847, in the quiet American town of Milan, Ohio, a boy was born who would light up the modern world. Thomas Edison entered life during a snowstorm, the seventh child of a modest merchant and a former schoolteacher who believed her son could achieve anything. Yet young Thomas showed no signs of genius, quite the opposite. After just 3 months in formal school, his teacher declared him addled and incapable of learning. His mother, Nancy Edison, refused to accept this verdict. She withdrew Thomas from school and became his teacher, nurturing a curiosity that would eventually illuminate cities across America. Edison's childhood was marked by relentless experimentation. He devoured every chemistry and physics book he could find, transforming the family basement into a makeshift laboratory filled with acid jars, metal scraps, wires, and test tubes. When he began working as a newspaper vendor on trains, he moved his entire laboratory into the baggage car. One day, a phosphorus flask shattered, causing a fire that got him permanently banned from the railroad. But his appetite for discovery never dimmed. Meanwhile, 9 years later, and half a world away, another child was entering this world under very different circumstances. In July 1856, in the small village of Smiljan, then part of the Austrian Empire, Nikola Tesla was born during a fierce thunderstorm. Local legend claims the midwife declared, "This child will be a child of darkness," to which his mother reportedly replied, "No, he will be a child of light." Whether this story is true or not, historians still debate, but Tesla's destiny would indeed be intertwined with electrical light. Tesla's childhood revealed extraordinary gifts that set him apart from ordinary children. He possessed what appeared to be photographic memory and an unusual ability to visualize complex machinery in perfect detail. He claimed he could see devices in his mind, complete with moving parts, materials, and mechanical behavior, before ever putting pencil to paper. While Edison learned through trial and error, breaking things apart to understand them, Tesla seemed to grasp theoretical concepts intuitively. The young Serbian nearly died from cholera as a teenager, and during his illness, he promised his father that if he survived, he would dedicate his life to engineering rather than following the family tradition of entering the priesthood. His father, who had dreamed of his son becoming a priest, reluctantly agreed. After his recovery, Tesla threw himself into technical studies, eventually enrolling in the Austrian Polytechnic in Graz, where he first encountered the fundamental problems of direct current motors and became obsessed with creating a motor that worked without brushes or commutators. Both boys grew up in an age when electricity was still largely a laboratory curiosity. Scientists like Michael Faraday had discovered electromagnetic induction, but practical applications remained limited. Telegraph systems represented the cutting edge of electrical technology, and both Edison and Tesla would cut their teeth working with these early communication networks. Edison became a master telegrapher, improving equipment through intuitive mechanical understanding, while Tesla absorbed the theoretical principles that governed electrical phenomena. Edison's approach was intensely practical. He believed in what worked, what could be manufactured, and what could turn a profit. His philosophy, later crystallized in his famous quote about genius being 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, reflected his methodical empirical approach to invention. Tesla, conversely, was drawn to elegant theoretical solutions, claiming he could run machines in his mind, test them mentally, and only then create physical prototypes. Neither young man could have imagined that their paths would eventually cross in a collision that would split America into two electrical camps and determine how the modern world would be powered. Edison was building his reputation as America's most practical inventor, while Tesla was developing revolutionary ideas about alternating current, that would challenge everything the established electrical industry had built. Take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you're genuinely enjoying what we're exploring here. Drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from and what time it is in your part of the world. In 1884, Nikola Tesla stepped off the steamship City of Richmond onto the bustling docks of New York City, carrying nothing but a few cents, detailed blueprints for an alternating current motor, and a letter of recommendation that would change the course of history. The letter, written by his French supervisor at Edison's Paris office, contained a phrase that has echoed through the corridors of scientific legend: "I know two great men. One is you, and the other is this young man." Thomas Edison, at this point in his career, stood as the undisputed king of American invention. His incandescent light bulb was illuminating the streets of Manhattan. His Pearl Street power station was supplying electricity to dozens of buildings in Lower Manhattan, and his name was synonymous with the electrical age itself. At 37, Edison commanded an empire built on direct current technology, holding over 400 patents and employing hundreds of workers in his sprawling Menlo Park laboratory, which newspapers had dubbed the Invention Factory. When Tesla presented himself at Edison's laboratory, the meeting between these two electrical giants was initially cordial. Edison, despite his reputation for dismissing formal education, recognized talent when he saw it. Tesla's European training and obvious technical competence impressed the American inventor, who quickly offered the young Serbian employment. But historians still debate whether Edison truly understood the revolutionary nature of the ideas Tesla carried in his brilliant mind. Tesla's first assignment was mundane by his standards, repairing electrical generators on ships docked in New York Harbor. Yet even this routine work showcased his extraordinary abilities. Where other engineers might spend days troubleshooting problems, Tesla would analyze the systems with remarkable speed, identifying issues that had stumped veteran mechanics. His unconventional approaches and rapid solutions amazed his colleagues, who began whispering about the foreign engineer with the uncanny ability to see inside machines. Edison soon assigned Tesla to a more significant challenge: improving the direct current generators and distribution systems throughout New York City. The existing infrastructure was functional but inefficient, plagued by voltage irregularities and frequent breakdowns. Tesla threw himself into the work with characteristic intensity, redesigning generator windings, creating improved voltage regulators, and developing new methods for controlling the distribution network. The results were immediate and impressive. Equipment that had been unreliable became stable, systems that had required constant maintenance began running smoothly, and the overall efficiency of Edison's electrical network improved dramatically. Tesla's mathematical approach to electrical engineering, so different from Edison's trial-and-error methodology, was producing undeniable results. Yet this success would soon become the source of their greatest conflict. According to Tesla's later recollections, Edison was so pleased with these improvements that he promised a substantial reward, $50,000, an almost unimaginable sum for a young immigrant engineer. Tesla claimed he worked tirelessly for months, redesigning generators, optimizing circuits, and solving technical problems that had previously seemed intractable. When he finally completed the work and approached Edison for his promised payment, the American inventor allegedly laughed and said, "Tesla, you don't understand American humor." Whether this exact exchange occurred remains a subject of historical debate. No documentary evidence of such a promise exists, and some biographers suggest Tesla may have misunderstood a casual remark or exaggerated the slight in his later years. However, what cannot be disputed is that Tesla felt profoundly betrayed and undervalued. The man he had traveled across an ocean to work with had apparently dismissed his contributions with a joke. But the conflict ran deeper than money. Tesla was discovering that he and Edison approached engineering from fundamentally incompatible philosophies. Edison believed in empirical experimentation, building dozens of prototypes, testing each variation, and gradually improving designs through repetitive trial and error. This methodology had served him well, producing practical inventions that could be manufactured and sold immediately. Tesla found this approach wasteful and intellectually unsatisfying. He preferred to perfect designs mentally before building physical prototypes, claiming he could run complete machines in his imagination, identify potential problems, and optimize performance before ever touching metal or wire. Where Edison might test hundreds of materials to find the right filament for a light bulb, Tesla believed mathematical analysis and theoretical understanding could eliminate most unnecessary experimentation. Their philosophical differences extended to their views on alternating current. Edison was deeply invested in direct current systems, financially, technically, and emotionally. His entire electrical empire depended on DC technology, and he genuinely believed it was safer and more reliable than alternating current, which he considered dangerous and impractical. Tesla, however, had spent years developing a comprehensive alternating current system that he believed could revolutionize electrical power distribution. His polyphase motors, transformers, and generators promised to solve the fundamental limitation of Edison's direct current networks, the inability to transmit power efficiently over long distances. The breaking point between Tesla and Edison came not with dramatic confrontation, but with quiet resignation that would echo through history. Tesla submitted his resignation letter to Edison's company in early 1885, walking away from steady employment into an uncertain future that would test every ounce of his determination and genius. For months afterward, the man who would revolutionize the world's electrical systems found himself digging ditches and laying cable trenches in the streets of New York City, earning $2 a day as a common laborer. This period represented one of the darkest chapters in Tesla's life. Here was a brilliant engineer with a comprehensive vision for the future of electricity, reduced to back-breaking manual labor just to survive. He lived in a cheap boarding house, surviving on bread and milk, while his revolutionary alternating current motor designs remained locked away in his mind. At night, exhausted from physical labor, he would lie in his small room and continue perfecting his inventions, mentally, never abandoning his dream of bringing alternating current to the world. The injustice of Tesla's situation becomes even more apparent when we consider what he had accomplished during his brief time with Edison. His improvements to the direct current generators had saved Edison's company thousands of dollars and enhanced the reliability of New York's entire electrical grid. Yet when Tesla approached Edison about compensation, whether the legendary $50,000 or simply fair recognition for his contributions, he was allegedly dismissed with condescending humor. Some historians argue that Edison's treatment of Tesla reflected the cultural attitudes of the era, when immigrant workers were often undervalued regardless of their talents. Others suggest that Edison, recognizing the threat Tesla's alternating current ideas posed to his business empire, may have deliberately marginalized the young inventor. What remains undisputed is that Edison's dismissive response to Tesla's work created one of history's most consequential professional rivalries. Tesla's fortunes began to change when he finally gained an opportunity to present his alternating current theories publicly. The American Institute of Electrical Engineers invited him to deliver a lecture about his polyphase system, and Tesla seized this chance to demonstrate the revolutionary potential of alternating current technology. His presentation was masterful, combining theoretical explanations with practical demonstrations that left the engineering community buzzing with excitement. During this lecture, Tesla explained how alternating current could solve the fundamental problems that plagued Edison's direct current networks. Direct current systems suffered from severe power losses during transmission, requiring power stations every few miles and thick, expensive copper cables to minimize energy waste. Tesla's alternating current system, utilizing transformers, could step voltage up for efficient long-distance transmission, then step it back down for safe household use. More importantly, Tesla demonstrated his polyphase motors, which could operate without the brushes and commutators that made direct current motors spark, wear out quickly, and require constant maintenance. His alternating current motors were quieter, more efficient, and far more reliable than anything the electrical industry had seen before. The audience of engineers and businessmen recognized immediately that they were witnessing something revolutionary. Among those impressed by Tesla's presentation was George Westinghouse, a successful entrepreneur who had already revolutionized railroad safety with his air brake system. Westinghouse possessed the business acumen and financial resources that Tesla lacked, and he immediately grasped the commercial potential of alternating current technology. Unlike Edison, who had dismissed Tesla's ideas as impractical, Westinghouse saw an opportunity to transform the entire electrical industry. The negotiations between Tesla and Westinghouse proceeded swiftly. Westinghouse offered to purchase Tesla's alternating current patents for $60,000, $25,000 in cash, the remainder in stock and royalty agreements. Most significantly, the contract included provisions for Tesla to receive ongoing royalty payments for every motor manufactured using his patents, potentially worth millions of dollars over time. This agreement represented more than just a business transaction. It was validation of Tesla's genius and vindication of his decision to leave Edison's employment. Where Edison had treated Tesla as an expendable employee, Westinghouse recognized him as an invaluable partner. The contrast between Edison's dismissive attitude and Westinghouse's generous terms highlighted the different approaches these two American business leaders took toward innovation and talent. Tesla's partnership with Westinghouse also marked the beginning of the true war of currents. No longer was alternating current merely a theoretical concept confined to Tesla's imagination. It now had the backing of a major American corporation with the resources to challenge Edison's direct current monopoly. The stage was set for an epic battle that would determine how the modern world would be electrified. Edison, learning of Tesla's alliance with Westinghouse, recognized the existential threat this partnership posed to his electrical empire. The man who had casually dismissed Tesla's $50,000 compensation request now faced a competitor armed with superior technology and substantial financial backing. By the late 1880s, electricity was transforming from a laboratory curiosity into the backbone of modern civilization. Streetlights were replacing gas lamps, factories were adopting electric motors, and wealthy households were installing electric lighting systems. Yet the fundamental question of how electricity should be delivered remained fiercely contested, dividing the engineering community and setting the stage for one of history's most consequential technological battles. Thomas Edison's direct current system had established the first foothold in this emerging market. His Pearl Street station in Manhattan successfully demonstrated that electricity could be commercially distributed to multiple buildings, powering everything from lights to small motors. Direct current flowed in one direction through copper wires, delivering steady, predictable power that seemed safe and reliable. Edison had invested millions in direct current infrastructure, from generators to distribution networks, and his reputation as America's greatest inventor lent credibility to the technology. However, direct current suffered from a fundamental physics problem that no amount of engineering ingenuity could overcome. Electrical power transmitted through wires loses energy as heat, and these losses increase dramatically over long distances. To minimize waste, direct current systems required thick, expensive copper cables and power stations every few miles. This limitation made direct current economically viable only in dense urban areas where customers lived close to generators. Tesla's alternating current system offered an elegant solution to these transmission problems. Unlike direct current, which flows steadily in one direction, alternating current reverses direction many times per second. 60 cycles per second became the American standard. This oscillating behavior allowed the use of transformers, devices that could easily change voltage levels. Power could be transmitted at very high voltages over long distances with minimal losses, then stepped down to safe household levels at the point of use. The implications were revolutionary. A single large power plant could serve an entire region, transmitting electricity hundreds of miles to cities, towns, and rural areas. This scalability promised to make electrical power accessible to America's growing population while dramatically reducing costs. Tesla's polyphase motors, which created rotating magnetic fields using multiple alternating current phases, eliminated the brushes and commutators that made direct current motors high maintenance and prone to failure. European engineers had been exploring alternating current concepts since the 1860s, but Tesla's comprehensive system represented a breakthrough in practical implementation. His patents covered not just individual components, but an integrated architecture where generators, transformers, transmission lines, and motors all worked together harmoniously. Historians still debate whether Tesla's genius lay in invention or in the systematic integration of existing concepts into a coherent whole. Edison viewed alternating current with deep suspicion and hostility. From a business perspective, widespread adoption of Tesla's technology would render his direct current infrastructure obsolete, potentially costing his company millions of dollars. More personally, Edison genuinely believed alternating current was inherently dangerous, pointing to its higher voltages as evidence of increased risk to workers and the public. This belief wasn't entirely unfounded. Early alternating current installations did operate at higher voltages than direct current systems, and electrical safety standards were still primitive by modern measures. However, Edison's concerns seemed disproportionate to many contemporary engineers who recognized that proper insulation and safety protocols could minimize risks regardless of current type. Edison's resistance to alternating current also reflected his preferred approach to technological development. Throughout his career, he had succeeded by making incremental improvements to existing systems rather than pursuing radical innovations. His method involved extensive trial and error experimentation, gradually refining designs through hundreds of iterations. This approach had served him well with the incandescent light bulb, where he tested thousands of filament materials before finding the right combination. Tesla's alternating current system, however, emerged from theoretical understanding rather than empirical experimentation. Tesla claimed he could perfect entire machines mentally before building physical prototypes, visualizing how components would interact and identifying potential problems through mathematical analysis. This fundamental difference in methodology created philosophical tension between the two inventors that extended far beyond technical disagreements. The stakes of this technological battle extended beyond personal rivalry or corporate profits. Whichever system prevailed would shape America's electrical infrastructure for generations to come. Cities would be wired according to the winning standard, electrical appliances would be designed for that current type, and entire industries would develop around the chosen technology. The decision would influence not just how Americans lived and worked, but how quickly electrical power could spread beyond urban centers to rural communities across the vast American continent. As 1890 approached, both direct and alternating current systems were demonstrating practical success in limited applications. Edison's direct current networks were operating reliably in several major cities, while Westinghouse's alternating current installations were proving equally effective in their initial deployments. The stage was set for a comprehensive test of both technology's capabilities and limitations. George Westinghouse represented a new breed of American entrepreneur, one who understood that the greatest fortunes came not from improving existing technologies, but from revolutionizing entire industries. By 1888, his air brake system had already transformed railroad safety across America, making him wealthy and respected in industrial circles. When he encountered Tesla's alternating current patents, Westinghouse immediately grasped their transformative potential, recognizing an opportunity that would dwarf even his railroad achievements. Unlike many businessmen of his era who focused solely on immediate profits, Westinghouse possessed the vision to invest in technologies that might take years to mature. His engineers, particularly Charles Scott and William Stanley, had been experimenting with alternating current systems and had already built America's first commercial AC installation in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. However, Tesla's comprehensive polyphase system offered capabilities far beyond anything they had previously imagined. The meeting between Westinghouse and Tesla took place in Tesla's modest laboratory, where the inventor demonstrated his revolutionary motors and explained the mathematical principles underlying his alternating current system. Westinghouse, though not an electrical engineer himself, possessed enough technical knowledge to understand the significance of what he was witnessing. Tesla's motors ran smoothly without sparks, operated more efficiently than existing designs, and could be scaled up for industrial applications. More importantly, Westinghouse recognized that Tesla's system solved the fundamental economic problem facing the electrical industry. Direct current transmission limitations meant that electrical power would remain expensive and geographically restricted, serving only wealthy urban customers. Tesla's alternating current technology promised to make electricity accessible to America's entire population, creating a market potentially hundreds of times larger than Edison's direct current could ever serve. The negotiations between Westinghouse and Tesla proceeded remarkably quickly for such a momentous transaction. Westinghouse offered to purchase Tesla's alternating current patents for $60,000, a substantial sum that represented financial security for Tesla and validation of his years of theoretical work. The agreement included $25,000 in immediate payment, with the remainder provided through company stock and ongoing royalty arrangements. The royalty provision proved particularly significant, guaranteeing Tesla $2.50 for every horsepower of motors manufactured using his patents. Conservative projections suggested this could generate millions of dollars in long-term income, making Tesla wealthy beyond his dreams. More importantly for Tesla, the contract provided something Edison had never offered: genuine partnership and respect for his intellectual contributions. Westinghouse didn't simply purchase Tesla's patents and dismiss the inventor, as often happened in such transactions. Instead, he invited Tesla to work closely with his engineering team, refining designs and adapting the alternating current system for mass production. Tesla spent months at Westinghouse's Pittsburgh facilities, collaborating with some of America's finest electrical engineers to transform his theoretical concepts into practical manufacturable products. This collaboration revealed Tesla's remarkable ability to bridge theoretical and practical concerns. While he preferred mental experimentation to physical prototyping, Tesla proved remarkably adept at solving the manufacturing problems that arose when scaling up his designs. His motors required precise tolerances and specialized materials, but Tesla worked patiently with Westinghouse's engineers to develop production techniques that maintained performance while controlling costs. The partnership also demonstrated Westinghouse's sophisticated understanding of technological development. Rather than rushing Tesla's alternating current system to market, Westinghouse invested heavily in research and development, ensuring that the technology would be reliable and cost-effective when commercially deployed. This patient approach contrasted sharply with Edison's more aggressive marketing strategies, which sometimes promoted products before they were fully mature. However, the Westinghouse-Tesla partnership faced immediate challenges from Edison's established direct current empire. Edison controlled significant market share in major American cities, possessed extensive political connections, and commanded public recognition that gave his technological opinions considerable weight. When Edison began publicly criticizing alternating current as dangerous and impractical, his statements carried authority that could influence municipal governments and potential customers. Historians still debate whether Edison's opposition to alternating current stemmed primarily from genuine safety concerns or from calculated business strategy. Contemporary documents suggest Edison truly believed direct current was safer, pointing to alternating current's higher operating voltages as evidence of increased danger. However, Edison's subsequent actions, particularly his involvement in developing the electric chair, suggest that commercial considerations may have influenced his public positions. Westinghouse found himself fighting not just a technological battle, but a propaganda war that would test his company's financial resources and Tesla's emotional resilience. Edison's campaign against alternating current would soon escalate into one of the most controversial episodes in American business history, featuring public animal executions and deliberate associations between Tesla's technology and state-sponsored killing. Yet Westinghouse remained committed to alternating current, recognizing that superior technology would ultimately prevail over propaganda. His engineers continued refining Tesla's designs. His salespeople began targeting customers beyond Edison's reach, and his factories prepared for mass production of alternating current equipment. The war of currents was about to begin in earnest. By 1890, Thomas Edison faced an unprecedented threat to his electrical empire, and his response would become one of the darkest chapters in the history of American innovation. Unable to compete with alternating current on purely technical merits, Edison's supporters launched a propaganda campaign that weaponized public fear, turning Tesla's revolutionary technology into a symbol of death and danger. This campaign of terror would feature public animal executions, manipulated newspaper coverage, and the deliberate association of alternating current with state-sponsored killing. The primary architect of this fear campaign was Harold P. Brown, an electrical engineer who positioned himself as a crusader for public safety while secretly receiving support from Edison's company. Brown had no formal relationship with Edison's organization, providing plausible deniability for the increasingly extreme tactics he would employ. However, corporate records later revealed that General Electric, Edison's successor company, provided Brown with equipment, facilities, and financial backing for his anti-alternating current demonstrations. Brown's strategy was psychologically sophisticated and morally reprehensible. Rather than engaging in technical debates about voltage regulation or transformer design, he focused on creating visceral associations between alternating current and death. His first major demonstration took place at Columbia College in July 1888, where he invited journalists and city officials to witness what he called a scientific comparison of electrical systems safety. The demonstration began with Brown applying direct current to a large dog, carefully calibrating the voltage to cause pain without death. The animal yelped and struggled but survived, leading Brown to declare direct current's relative safety. He then switched to alternating current at the same voltage level, which quickly killed the dog. The assembled audience watched in horror as Brown repeated this process with several animals, each time demonstrating alternating current's supposedly superior lethality. These public animal executions were carefully orchestrated theater designed to bypass rational analysis and trigger emotional responses. Brown understood that most people lacked the technical knowledge to evaluate competing electrical systems objectively, but everyone could understand the simple message: direct current hurt animals, while alternating current killed them. Newspapers across the country published sensational accounts of these demonstrations, often accompanied by headlines like "The Deadly Current" and "Tesla's Killing Machine." The propaganda campaign escalated when New York State began considering alternatives to hanging as its method of capital punishment. A legislative commission tasked with finding more humane execution methods received testimony from various experts, including Thomas Edison himself. Edison enthusiastically endorsed using alternating current for executions, arguing that its supposed lethality made it ideal for this grim purpose, while simultaneously proving its danger for household use. This recommendation led to the development of the electric chair, with Brown serving as the primary technical consultant. Brown insisted that alternating current generators be used exclusively, purchasing Westinghouse equipment through intermediaries to ensure Tesla's technology would be associated with state-sponsored killing. The irony was profound. Tesla's system, designed to bring light and power to humanity, was being perverted into an instrument of death. The first execution by electric chair took place on August 6, 1890, when William Kemmler was put to death in Auburn prison. The event proved to be a gruesome spectacle that horrified witnesses and sparked nationwide debate about the supposed humanity of electrical execution. The initial electrical charge failed to kill Kemmler instantly, leading to a second, longer application that caused his body to catch fire and fill the execution chamber with smoke and the smell of burning flesh. Newspapers described the execution as a torture session rather than a humane death, but Edison's supporters used even this failure to reinforce their propaganda message. They argued that alternating current was so inherently dangerous that it couldn't be controlled even in carefully managed executions, making it obviously unsuitable for household use. The term Westinghouse began appearing in newspapers as slang for electrocution, directly linking Tesla's business partner with death and violence. George Westinghouse fought back against this campaign through multiple strategies. He hired the best lawyers available to challenge the electric chair's legality, arguing that using his equipment for executions violated his patents and constituted cruel and unusual punishment. He funded expert testimony demonstrating that alternating current could be made as safe as direct current through proper installation and safety protocols. Most importantly, he continued building and demonstrating alternating current systems that operated safely and efficiently. Tesla himself remained largely above the propaganda battle, focusing on technical development rather than public relations. However, the constant association of his life's work with death and danger took a psychological toll. In private letters, he expressed disgust at the perversion of his humanitarian technology for destructive purposes, writing that using scientific discoveries to cause suffering represented a betrayal of engineering's noble purposes. The fear campaign reached its peak with Brown's increasingly elaborate public demonstrations, which eventually included electrocuting horses, cows, and even an elephant named Topsy in 1903. These spectacles drew crowds of thousands, creating powerful visual associations between alternating current and violent death that would persist in public memory long after the technical debates were settled. Yet for all its emotional impact, the propaganda campaign ultimately failed to prevent alternating current's triumph, because superior technology eventually overcomes even the most sophisticated marketing manipulation. In the spring of 1893, Chicago prepared to host an event that would showcase America's technological prowess to the entire world. The World's Columbian Exposition, commemorating the 400th anniversary of Columbus's arrival in the Americas, was designed to demonstrate that the United States had emerged as a global leader in industry and innovation. The exposition's electrical requirements would provide the perfect stage for Tesla and Westinghouse to prove that alternating current could safely and reliably power the largest technological demonstration in human history. The exposition's organizing committee announced a massive tender for electrical services covering 600 acres of exhibition space, including more than 200 buildings, fountains, bridges, exhibition halls, and entire city blocks constructed specifically for the event. The winning contractor would need to install generators, string thousands of miles of cable, place over 90,000 incandescent bulbs, and guarantee uninterrupted power for 6 months, while millions of visitors explored the fairgrounds. General Electric, Edison's corporate successor, submitted the first bid proposing a direct current system for over $1 million. The company's proposal reflected the established technology's limitations. Multiple power stations would be required throughout the fairgrounds. Thick copper cables would need to snake between buildings, and the overall system would be expensive to install and maintain. However, General Electric's bid carried the weight of proven reliability and Edison's legendary reputation. Westinghouse Electric shocked the committee by submitting a bid for less than half of General Electric's price, proposing to illuminate the entire exposition using Tesla's alternating current system. This dramatic underbid wasn't just aggressive pricing, it reflected the fundamental economic advantages of alternating current technology. A single large power plant could serve the entire fairgrounds, transformers could adjust voltages efficiently, and the overall system required far less copper and infrastructure than direct current alternatives. The contract award to Westinghouse created a sensation throughout the electrical industry. For the first time, Tesla's alternating current system would be tested on a scale that dwarfed any previous electrical installation. Success would validate alternating current technology before a global audience of millions. Failure would vindicate Edison's warnings about alternating current's supposed dangers and unreliability. Westinghouse personally supervised the installation, understanding that this project represented far more than a commercial contract. His engineers worked around the clock installing massive generators capable of producing 1,000 horsepower, stringing high-voltage transmission lines throughout the fairgrounds, and placing transformers that would step down power for safe public use. The entire system utilized Tesla's patents and principles, from the polyphase generators to the distribution networks. The opening ceremony on May 1, 1893, became one of the most memorable moments in technological history. President Grover Cleveland stood on the central platform and activated a symbolic switch that simultaneously illuminated the entire exposition. In an instant, plazas, colonnades, building domes, fountains, and waterways blazed with brilliant white electrical light, creating a spectacle unlike anything the world had ever witnessed. For hundreds of thousands of visitors, this represented their first encounter with large-scale electrical lighting. Families traveled from across America to witness what newspapers described as a miracle of modern science. The exposition's grand basin, surrounded by neoclassical buildings and illuminated by thousands of electric lights, created an otherworldly atmosphere that visitors compared to scenes from mythology or dreams of the future. Tesla himself arrived at the exposition several weeks after the opening, but quickly became one of its most celebrated attractions. His demonstration booth in the Electricity building drew enormous crowds eager to witness the mysterious inventor whose technology was powering the entire fairgrounds. Tesla's presentations combined scientific education with theatrical flair, showing how high-frequency alternating current could pass harmlessly through his body, while lighting unconnected bulbs and creating spectacular electrical effects. These demonstrations provided powerful counter-narratives to Edison's propaganda campaign. Where Harold Brown had shown alternating current killing animals, Tesla showed it safely passing through human beings. Where Edison's supporters claimed alternating current was inherently uncontrollable, Tesla demonstrated precise manipulation of electrical forces. The visual impact of these presentations helped shift public perception from fear to fascination. More importantly, The exposition's electrical system operated flawlessly throughout the entire 6-month event. Despite hundreds of miles of cables, tens of thousands of light fixtures, and millions of visitors, there were no significant power failures, electrical accidents, or safety incidents. This reliability record provided definitive proof that alternating current could operate safely on a massive scale when properly engineered and installed. The exposition's success generated immediate commercial benefits for Westinghouse and Tesla. Municipal governments, railroad companies, and industrial enterprises that had previously hesitated to adopt alternating current began placing orders for Tesla's motors and Westinghouse's generators. The technology that Edison had dismissed as impractical was demonstrating superior performance in the most visible venue possible. Historians still debate whether the Chicago Exposition single-handedly ended the war of currents, but it certainly marked the beginning of Edison's retreat. General Electric, recognizing that alternating current's advantages were becoming undeniable, began quietly developing its own AC systems, while continuing to support direct current in existing installations. The company that had funded Harold Brown's fear campaign was preparing to embrace Tesla's technology. The exposition also established Tesla as a popular hero, transforming him from an unknown immigrant inventor into a celebrity whose demonstrations drew crowds and newspaper coverage. However, this fame came with a price, as Tesla's growing reputation for theatrical presentation sometimes overshadowed recognition of his serious scientific contributions. In the wake of Chicago's electrical triumph, the stage was set for the ultimate test of alternating current technology. Niagara Falls, with its thundering cascade of 600,000 gallons per second plummeting 167 feet, represented nature's most dramatic display of raw power. Harnessing this force to generate electricity would require engineering on an unprecedented scale, and the technology chosen for this monumental project would likely determine the future of electrical power throughout America and beyond. The Niagara Falls Power Company, established in 1886 under the leadership of Edward Dean Adams, had attracted investors including some of America's wealthiest financiers, John Jacob Astor, J.P. Morgan, and other titans of industry, who recognized the project's transformative potential. Their vision extended far beyond simply generating electricity. They planned to create an industrial complex that would attract manufacturing companies seeking abundant, cheap power, while demonstrating electricity's capacity to reshape entire regional economies. The company's initial challenge involved a fundamental question that had divided the electrical engineering community for years: should Niagara's power be transmitted using direct current or alternating current? The distance between the falls and Buffalo, approximately 22 miles, lay at the absolute limit of direct current's transmission capabilities, while alternating current could easily span this gap with minimal power losses. Yet Edison's reputation and direct current's established track record gave many investors pause about embracing Tesla's relatively untested technology. An international competition attracted proposals from the world's leading electrical companies, including General Electric, Siemens and Holzge from Germany, Ganz & Company from Hungary, and Westinghouse Electric. Each company submitted detailed technical specifications, cost estimates, and implementation timelines. The proposals revealed the stark differences between competing electrical systems and their underlying philosophies about how electricity should be generated and distributed. General Electric's direct current proposal required multiple power stations along the transmission route, massive copper conductors to minimize power losses, and complex switching systems to manage the network's various segments. While technically feasible, the system would be expensive to build and maintain, with significant ongoing operational costs. Edison's engineers acknowledged these limitations, but emphasized direct current's proven reliability and safety record. Westinghouse's alternating current proposal offered a radically different approach. A single large power plant at the falls would generate electricity at relatively low voltage, then step it up using transformers to high voltage for efficient transmission to Buffalo, where additional transformers would reduce it to safe levels for distribution to customers. Tesla's polyphase system would drive massive generators, creating the rotating magnetic fields necessary to convert Niagara's mechanical energy into electrical power. The Technical Evaluation Committee, headed by Lord Kelvin, one of Britain's most distinguished physicists, initially favoured direct current systems, reflecting the scientific establishment's conservative preferences. However, younger engineers on the committee, including several who had witnessed Tesla's Chicago demonstrations, advocated strongly for alternating current technology. The debate continued for months, with engineers, financiers, and politicians weighing technical merits against commercial considerations and public perceptions. The final decision in favor of alternating current represented more than just a technical choice. It marked the establishment's acceptance that Tesla's system had matured beyond experimental status into practical, reliable technology. Historians still debate whether this decision was primarily driven by economic considerations, alternating current's lower costs, or by genuine recognition of its technical superiority, but the outcome fundamentally transformed the electrical industry's trajectory. Construction began in 1893, with crews excavating enormous underground tunnels to channel water from above the falls to powerhouses carved directly into the rock below. These tunnels, measuring over 7 feet in diameter and extending more than a mile, represented engineering achievements comparable to the electrical systems they would serve. The powerhouses themselves housed massive generators designed according to Tesla's specifications, each capable of producing 5,000 horsepower, making them the largest electrical generators ever constructed. The generators incorporated Tesla's polyphase principles, using rotating magnetic fields to convert mechanical energy from water-driven turbines into electrical power. The system's elegance impressed even skeptical engineers. Water flowed through the tunnels, spun the turbines, drove the generators, and produced electricity that transformers then boosted to high voltage for transmission to Buffalo. No coal was burned, no steam was generated, and no pollution was created, just the conversion of falling water into the electrical power that would drive America's industrial expansion. Tesla himself visited the construction site multiple times, consulting with engineers and observing the implementation of his theoretical concepts on an unprecedented scale. Standing beside the massive generators that embodied his mathematical insights, Tesla reportedly told companions that if his entire life's work could be summarized in a single achievement, he would choose Niagara. The project represented the culmination of his alternating current system, proving that theoretical elegance could translate into practical power on an industrial scale. The first generator began operation on November 16, 1896, sending electricity flowing along transmission lines toward Buffalo. When the city's streetlights illuminated and its factories' motors began turning, powered by water that had fallen at Niagara, it marked a historic moment, the first major city to receive all its electrical power from a distant source. The age of centralized electrical generation and long-distance power transmission had begun, fundamentally changing how societies would organize their industrial and domestic activities. As the 20th century dawned, the war of currents had effectively ended with alternating current's decisive victory, but the two protagonists who had waged this epic battle would experience vastly different destinies. Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, whose conflicting visions had once divided America into competing electrical camps, now faced the consequences of their choices and the unpredictable nature of fame, fortune, and historical memory. Edison emerged from the current wars financially wounded, but ultimately triumphant in the court of public opinion. Although his direct current system had lost the technical battle, Edison himself had become something larger than any single invention. He had transformed into America's archetypal inventor, the embodiment of practical ingenuity and entrepreneurial spirit. His laboratories continued producing innovations ranging from improved storage batteries for electric vehicles to enhanced phonographs that brought recorded music into American homes. The consolidation that created General Electric in 1892 had largely removed Edison from day-to-day corporate control, but it also freed him to pursue diverse interests without the pressure of defending direct current systems. He invested heavily in iron ore extraction technologies, developed new concrete construction methods, and even ventured into motion picture production. His approach remained characteristically empirical, testing hundreds of variations to find solutions that worked, regardless of theoretical elegance. As Edison aged, he became increasingly celebrated as a national treasure. Presidents consulted him on technological matters, universities awarded him honorary degrees, and newspapers treated his opinions on any subject as newsworthy. When he died in October 1931, the entire country mourned his passing. Radio stations observed moments of silence, electric lights were dimmed in his honor, and millions of Americans genuinely felt they had lost a personal hero who had illuminated their world. Tesla's trajectory followed a remarkably different path. The financial success from his Westinghouse partnership had provided him with the resources to pursue increasingly ambitious projects, but these ventures would ultimately lead him away from commercial success toward brilliant isolation. After Niagara's triumph, Tesla became obsessed with wireless power transmission, believing he could eliminate the need for power lines entirely by transmitting electricity through the Earth's atmosphere. His most ambitious project, the Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island, was designed to demonstrate worldwide wireless power transmission. Tesla envisioned a future where electricity could be broadcast like radio waves, making power available anywhere on Earth without cables or power plants. The concept was scientifically sound in principle, but the engineering challenges and power requirements proved insurmountable with early 20th century technology. J.P. Morgan, initially intrigued by Tesla's wireless communications possibilities, invested substantially in Wardenclyffe, but withdrew support when Tesla revealed his broader wireless power ambitions. Morgan realized that wireless power transmission would eliminate the possibility of metering electrical consumption, making it impossible to charge customers for electricity, a business model that hardly appealed to America's most powerful financier. The Wardenclyffe project's failure marked the beginning of Tesla's gradual withdrawal from mainstream commercial development. While he continued patenting inventions and presenting lectures, his ideas became increasingly theoretical and divorced from immediate practical applications. He spoke of death rays, earthquake machines, and communication with extraterrestrial civilizations, concepts that fascinated journalists but worried potential investors. Tesla's personal life became increasingly eccentric as he aged. He lived in a succession of New York hotels, maintaining strict daily routines that included feeding pigeons in nearby parks. He claimed to subsist on milk and crackers, avoided shaking hands due to germophobia, and insisted on rooms with numbers divisible by 3. These behavioral quirks, combined with his theatrical public demonstrations, created an image of Tesla as a mad scientist rather than a serious engineer. Historians still debate whether Tesla's eccentricities resulted from genuine mental deterioration or from the frustration of being unable to implement his most ambitious visions with available technology. His notebooks from this period reveal continued scientific insight and mathematical sophistication, suggesting that his unconventional behavior may have been partially calculated to maintain public attention for his work. The contrast between Edison's and Tesla's later careers reflected their different approaches to innovation and commercial success. Edison had always emphasized practical applications and immediate utility, ensuring that his inventions could be manufactured, sold, and profited from. Tesla, conversely, was drawn to elegant theoretical solutions that often exceeded the technical capabilities of his era, leading to projects that were scientifically fascinating but commercially unviable. By the 1920s, Edison was universally celebrated as the inventor who had brought electric light to America, while Tesla was largely forgotten by the general public, despite his fundamental contributions to the electrical systems that powered modern life. Edison's reputation benefited from his association with tangible products, light bulbs, phonographs, movie cameras, while Tesla's achievements remained largely invisible to consumers who simply flipped switches and expected lights to illuminate. Tesla died alone in his hotel room at the New Yorker Hotel on January 7, 1943, with only a few hundred people attending his funeral. His death barely registered in newspapers preoccupied with World War II, and most obituaries focused on his eccentric behavior rather than his revolutionary contributions to electrical engineering. Yet within decades, this neglect would be dramatically reversed as Tesla's true historical significance became increasingly apparent. The scientific community's reassessment of Tesla's contributions began almost immediately after his death, as engineers and physicists recognized that many of his supposedly impractical ideas had actually been ahead of their time rather than fundamentally flawed. As we reach the end of this extraordinary tale, the question that began our journey, who really won the war that electrified the world, reveals itself to be more complex than a simple victor's laurel. The battle between Edison and Tesla transcended mere technical competition to become a defining struggle between two fundamentally different approaches to human progress. One rooted in practical application and commercial success, the other driven by theoretical elegance and visionary imagination. In the immediate aftermath of the current wars, Edison appeared to be the clear loser. His direct current system had been systematically replaced by Tesla's alternating current technology. His corporate empire had been consolidated into General Electric under other people's control, and his reputation as America's greatest inventor had been built on a technological foundation that history had rejected. Yet Edison's legacy proved far more durable than his electrical systems. Edison's true contribution to human progress lay not in any single invention, but in his creation of the modern research and development paradigm. His Menlo Park laboratory established the template for industrial innovation that corporations still follow today: systematic experimentation, patent protection, market analysis, and rapid commercialization of successful discoveries. Edison proved that invention could be treated as a business process rather than random individual inspiration, fundamentally changing how societies approach technological development. More significantly, Edison demonstrated that successful innovation required more than brilliant ideas. It demanded manufacturing capabilities, distribution networks, financial backing, regulatory approval, and public acceptance. His approach to the incandescent light bulb exemplified this comprehensive methodology. He didn't just invent a working bulb, he created an entire electrical infrastructure to make that bulb useful to ordinary consumers. This holistic understanding of innovation's requirements became Edison's most important and enduring contribution to human progress. Tesla's vindication came gradually but decisively as the 20th century unfolded. The alternating current system that Edison had dismissed as dangerous and impractical became the foundation for virtually every aspect of modern electrical life. Tesla's polyphase motors drove industrial machinery, his transformers enabled long-distance power transmission, and his generators powered the electrical grid that made modern civilization possible. Yet Tesla's true genius extended far beyond even these revolutionary achievements. Many of Tesla's supposedly impractical ideas that had contributed to his reputation as an eccentric inventor were actually decades ahead of available technology, rather than fundamentally flawed. His wireless power transmission experiments anticipated technologies that are only now becoming commercially viable. His radio control demonstrations prefigured the remote control systems that govern everything from television sets to military drones. His high-frequency electrical experiments laid groundwork for technologies ranging from medical devices to radio astronomy. The scientific community's reassessment of Tesla accelerated dramatically in the 1960s when the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers began systematically studying his contributions to electrical engineering theory. Researchers discovered that many concepts attributed to other inventors had actually been pioneered by Tesla years or decades earlier. Supreme Court retroactively recognized Tesla's priority in radio invention over Guglielmo Marconi, acknowledging that Tesla's fundamental patents predated Marconi's commercial success. Popular culture's embrace of Tesla reflected broader changes in how society valued different types of contribution to human progress. The post-Mortot World War II era's emphasis on theoretical physics and advanced mathematics made Tesla's mathematical approach to engineering seem more sophisticated than Edison's empirical methodology. Tesla's image as a misunderstood genius who died in poverty while his ideas enriched others resonated with romantic notions about the relationship between creativity and commercial success. The ultimate symbol of Tesla's cultural rehabilitation came in 2003 when entrepreneurs Elon Musk and Martin Eberhard chose to name their electric vehicle company Tesla Motors, later simplified to Tesla Inc. This decision represented more than mere marketing. It acknowledged Tesla as the spiritual father of electrical transportation and clean energy technology. The company's success in making electric vehicles mainstream vindicated Tesla's early predictions that electricity would eventually replace combustion engines in transportation. Historians still debate whether Edison's approach or Tesla's methodology contributed more to human technological advancement. Edison's empirical experimentation produced immediate practical benefits and established innovation as a systematic business process. Tesla's theoretical insights enabled technological leaps that might have taken decades to achieve through trial and error methods. Both approaches proved essential to different aspects of technological progress. Perhaps the most profound lesson from their rivalry lies in recognizing that sustainable innovation requires both visionary imagination and practical implementation. Tesla's alternating current system succeeded not just because it was theoretically superior to direct current, but because George Westinghouse provided the commercial infrastructure necessary to translate theoretical concepts into practical reality. Similarly, Edison's inventions endured because he understood that brilliant ideas meant nothing without manufacturing, marketing, and distribution systems to make them accessible to ordinary people. The modern world bears the mark of both men's contributions in ways that would have amazed their contemporaries. Every time we flip a light switch, Tesla's alternating current principles illuminate our spaces using infrastructure concepts that Edison pioneered. Our smartphones contain technologies that both inventors anticipated but could never have imagined in their full implementation. The renewable energy systems that increasingly power our civilization combine Tesla's electrical theories with Edison's systematic approach to technological development. If you enjoyed this exploration of history's greatest electrical rivalry, please like this video and subscribe for more stories from the crossroads of science and human ambition. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is in your part of the world. We love hearing from our global community. Until our next journey through the corridors of history, this has been the story of two minds that literally illuminated the world. Sweet dreams.